urgency. We have to redirect our thoughts, our minds onto the path of productivity because a lot of young persons out there do not have direction. A lot of young persons out there aren't stable, and it is the bane of being a young person at this time. I did a couple of slides, just about 13 of them. We'll run through them quickly. I would want this session to be as interactive as possible, so I'll just breeze through those slides for maybe the next 15 to 20 minutes, and then we would have time to interact, ask questions, and then I'll be able to share some of my experiences better. So I need you to confirm that you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. So yes, my name is Obaka Ikani. Gideon introduced me as he did quite an elaborate introduction. Yeah, so I wouldn't dwell on that much. Of course, I have been involved with youth development from when I was in secondary school, and we had initiatives that were tailored to driving youth empowerment, youth growth among young persons professionally, skill and talent development. I have been involved with that from way when I was in secondary school, and even up until now, I'm still involved with that. Besides that, professionally, I have a background in agriculture, and having worked in a couple of organizations, been able to drive growth in building agricultural systems across the landscape in Nigeria and Africa. And what has really helped me, I am still growing and I'm learning as much as possible. You don't stop learning. What has really helped me is the fact that those that mentored me, that trained me, that built my capacity were people of discipline, were people that appreciated systems, were people that were interested in growth. So, and the thing I want us to understand is that there is what we call self-leadership. Self-leadership is a core component of discipline. I have not come here to define what discipline and system and all of that is. So Google is your friend. So it is self-leadership. It is the ability of you as an individual to take ownership of your yourself, take ownership, take responsibility and ownership of those things, those activities, and those things that you do that will keep you in check, keep you on the path of growth, right? It is that part of you that does what must be done, even when feelings change, even when the chips are down, you keep moving, you keep going, right? There, it is you self-leading yourself, and what it creates is For instance, and there are different spheres, there are different aspects, discipline can mean a lot of things to different people, but in the context of our conversation tonight, we are looking at discipline in the aspect of self-leadership, in the aspect of you being able to steward yourself, steward your life, steward your programs and projects and your own self on the path of growth. Now, there are different scenarios or spheres of discipline in the context of our conversation. For instance, somebody may say, you may have heard a lot of persons talk about financial discipline. Those are the things you do around your finances to making sure that you are not going to go bankrupt or broke. There is also discipline around your time, how you manage time. And it is important as you manage time. Time management is a skill. It is a part of you that you cannot overemphasize. You need to learn how to manage time because your productivity, a huge part of your productivity depends on how you manage time. There is also discipline around your health. There is discipline around everything, right? So there are those things that you do, the activities, the habits that you do that keeps you in check, that keeps you on track, that sustains your growth trajectory, right? And I want to move on to talking about systems. I will still come back to hitting some very strong points so that we are able to take a few things home. And my job today is to leave an impression, is to have you motivated and be able to take actionable steps, practical steps that will help you to be disciplined, to create systems that will enhance your growth. When I saw this topic, something dropped in my spirit. And what was that? It was that when discipline and systems are in place, growth becomes natural. When discipline and systems are in check, are in place, growth becomes natural. Growth is a given. And so systems sustain performance. You see, motivation can fluctuate. Motivation will not be there all the time. You will not have those people around that will always give you thumbs up, always cheer you on. You will not have all of that all the time. But what can sustain you is the system that you have put in check and in place. And for organizations, for besides just you, because I know a few persons here have businesses, small businesses, small and medium scale enterprises, or even if you are working in an organization, you understand that a system that is built around you will sustain performance. And what is a system? A system is that structure that reduces inconsistency and helps you win repeatedly. It is that structure that in concert with discipline reduces inconsistency. It is the structure that manages your personality. It is the structure that you keep in place to manage your career. It's the structure that you keep in place that you put in place to manage your growth, to manage your personality, your person. And you see, a lot of us individuals, young persons, we aspire to do great things. We aspire to do great, mighty things. We have visions, we have goals, we have a lot. And of course, we have a lot of energy. And it is okay, it is fine, it is beautiful. But you see, when all of those lofty ideas are put together, a lot of goals, visions in people's diaries. But for some, those visions, goals never get to walk out of those books, which is unfortunate. And for others, they get to walk out, but they do not outlive them, or they may become truncated during implementation or during any phase of implementation. And so a system is that structure that keeps you, is a repeatable structure that keeps you consistent and helps you to win repeatedly. It just, even if you fail, that system is what you will hold dearly and ensure that it's not broken at any time. Rather, it's improved upon. Um, there are different frameworks for systems, right? If you want to build a system around you, you must be able to define the goal. It was Miles Monroe that said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. Um, Defining the goal, setting the vision, and even when I say to some of my colleagues that when a vision is not ambitious, it is not a vision. When a vision does not give you sleepless nights, it is not yet a vision. That's on a lighter note, but your vision must keep you awake at night, you know. And so you need to define your goal. It should be very clear. It should be a vision that is clear, it is achievable. And then you need to build a process around that vision, around that goal. I'll be giving some classical examples, right? If, for instance, and I'll give an example that is very familiar to my area of expertise, and I'm sure it will resonate with everyone in the room. If you've grown crops before or you farmed before, you know that you need a seed. And what a farmer or a farmer's goal, first of all, is basically to, most farmers are businessmen, right? And they want to make a living, they want to earn out of their craft, out of their business. And for some, at the subsistence level, they basically will just produce for what they can, the little they can eat in their homes, and also at the level that they can take to the market. I'm trying not to be too technical with this. And so at that level, when the farmer decides that I want to farm, he decides what crop he wants to grow, whether maize or soybeans or yam or cassava. And the farmer needs a seed to plant. That farmer takes the seed to the farm. But before he does that, he builds a process, which we call agronomic practices. There is a process, right, that he is built over time to making sure that the seed he puts into the ground, he plants, will germinate, will grow, and will yield and produce, right? So a process is built around that goal, right? And in simple terms, it is that the farmer will need to go and prepare his land, the farmer will need to prepare his seeds, the farmer will need to buy inputs and those things that he will add to the soil, to the plant, to make it flourish, to make it blossom. And so a process is built around that. And as a human being, as a person, you must note that for whatsoever you do, you have to be intentional about the process that you build. You have to be intentional about the the process, the system that you create around things, system of things, you see. And thirdly, in the systems framework, you do everything you can to remove friction, right? You must do everything to the best of your ability to take out every form of friction. What are those impediments? What are those things that will not help you sustain the system, right? You have enhancers around you, you have enhancements, encouragements, you have things that will keep you in check. That is why discipline is important. When you set a system, you need discipline to keep that system in check. And discipline and systems in place or having a structure in place guarantees growth, enhances growth as an individual. And then as a person, you start seeing yourself not getting drawn into you being unnecessarily motivated and looking for motivations here and there, up and down. It is that you are self-motivated because you have your life programmed, right? And then the last item on the systems framework is tracking progress. This also cannot be overemphasized. As an individual, having built a system or building a system around you, one thing that we cannot do without is tracking progress, right? And in tracking progress, I don't know if, as I say these things, I want you to be seeing my face, even though my face is not important. So you see the seriousness. So I wanted to split the screen such that you will see the video and my slide, but no worries, we'll just move on. Um, when you're tracking progress, right, you you have to set frameworks that will help you monitor your progress, right? You monitor your progress, you evaluate your progress, you learn from it. In the development world, we call it MEL, monitoring, evaluation, and learning. That has changed over time. Um, those such systems, it has evolved over time. I don't know what's being used out there now, but the one I'm familiar with is monitoring, evaluation, and learning. So as you move on in your growth trajectory in building discipline and systems, you must create measurable indices, right? That you will ensure that you go through. Could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, depending on the goal or the vision you have set, right? It could be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, but my recommendation usually is that have it as frequent as possible because it will help you for organizations, especially for startups. It is done almost every day, right? Because you are on the fast lane and you want to try out things, you want to do things quickly and move on to other things because of your goal, your vision. And so monitoring, evaluation, and learning is very important. You have to track progress. Progress tracking is in your life is important. It is part of the system's framework. Um, of course, there are habits, there are those things that you do that keeps you on the path of growth. There are habits that are infused in your self-leadership, in your structures that will enhance growth. Um, on the slide there, you can read. I wrote that consistency beats intensity, and so when you keep showing up daily, keep showing up daily. For instance, I'll take an athlete, or for somebody that wants to build to live a healthy lifestyle, right? You know that you have to take your gym sessions serious, right? And for you going to the gym, that's why most gyms are not free. You pay for it. And that helps you to, even though some people pay for their gym sessions and end up not turning up, right? That is a motivation all by itself for you to show up daily. And you showing up daily will help you to grow, right? And help you build the kind of body you want to have. When you go and into the gym, you don't just go and then see, you have different weights, especially depending on what your goal is, and how you want your body to be and look like, right? You would have different weights, the 50 kg, the 40 kg, the 30 kgs, 12, 14, 10, 5, 2, even 1 or 1.5. And if you go into the gym and it is your first time, if you go try to take the 50 kg, you'll break down, right? And if you also pick up the 1 kg and for the next 3 months, you're only on 2 or 3 kg, you're also not growing. So there are habits that you must keep in check. One is keep improving on yourself, keep improving on that thing that you are building, right? You need to constantly ensure that what you have put in check, even in your discipline, even in your self-leadership, you need to improve on it. On the system, on the structure that you have set for yourself, you need to improve on it, right? So if you go to the gym and you start in the next 1 week, you're on 5 kg, right? What the instructor will tell you is that there are different reps. So if you call, let's say 5 kg for um, 10 times today, the next day you are coming, they'll ask you to coil for 12. You go 10 and then add one on top of it, or add two coils on top of it. I'm not so familiar with the term, so pardon me. So, but I'm trying to tell you that your consistency is way more important than your intensity, than I want to do this and I want to start big. I want to go big on this thing and all of that. That is much appreciated, but you must recognize the importance of starting small and building on that gradually, because along the way, on that path, you are able to learn. There are certain things that you will be exposed to at the micro level, right? There are certain things, there are certain lessons, there are certain things you may not understand. And if you fail at those levels, it is better and it will help you to pick up and repeat the same process again and get things moving and get better at what you're doing. But there is a huge discouragement factor when you go try those big things and you fail at them, right? Now, when we talk about growth, um, growth is quiet. Growth is quiet. Of course, you have set in place, you have put in place your um, tracking mechanism, right? And that tracking mechanism, be it qualitative or quantitative, right? It gives you an idea, right, of it helps you or it shows you as an individual or as an organization that you are growing, you are making progress. And that motivates you, right? Which is why in the previous slide, I quite dwelt on that point of tracking progress. Growth is often invisible before it becomes obvious. But with tracking, yes, with good tracking, you can be able to see, right? And take, there's what called take dressing. I learned that during my NYC days. You will, it helps you to keep yourself in check and then monitor progress. And for growth, it is most of the time quiet. It is quiet. It is silent. But it's gradual. It's happening there, but it's underneath, right? When you put a seed into the ground, right, a lot starts happening. There is an environment that is provided for the seed to thrive. And so that environment begins to influence the seed, and it influences it such that the seeds and all the parts of the seed that helps it to that gives that infuses ensures that nutrients gets into it and all of the chemical and physical processes that goes on in the seed to enable it to come out, right? To enable it to germinate, right? To enable it to emerge and germinate. There is an environment, there is a system in place for that seed. And so the growth of that seed, even though on the ground there is there are visible changes on that seed before people and everybody starts seeing it on the surface. And when it comes on the surface, it does not appear like a tree. You see it small, tender. And so the owner of the seed um, still provides an environment for it even after leaving the ground, even after emerging or germinating, provides care, support for it to grow from one phase to another phase, from one phase to another phase. There are four stages of growth. There is the phase of learning, adjustment, consistency, and expansion. Please time me so that I don't overshoot my time. Um, just when give me um, a sign when 10 minutes to the end of my time, please, Gideon.
Okay, sir.
All right. So the four stages of growth, there is the stage of learning, right? Where you try out those new things, ideas. You you try them out on a very micro level, right? For somebody that wants to start a business, you prove the concept. There's what called proof of concept. You take that idea and test it in the market, or take that product, you see, do some product testing, test the product, take it to the market, and get feelers, feedbacks. How does the market react to that product, right? So you take the product out there, test it, check it. That's the phase of learning, and that must be done at the very micro level. right? So in whatever you're doing as an individual, you must understand that in your part of growth, there is that phase of learning, right? There is also that phase of adjustment. Having learned some of those things or having taken those, of course, learning is is progressive. It doesn't stop, right? But at the very micro level, you must um, dwell on learning. You must give adequate energy and time to learning, right? And then you start building on what you've learned, right? And so you do not, that's why if you go to school as an undergraduate, you graduate from school, from a university, maybe you studied civil engineering, you cannot be crowned a, of course, you have the degree in engineering, but there is, you may not have industry experience, right? For some persons, they have to go back to school again to do masters and all that. But you graduating at that level, you have some level of knowledge, right? To to achieve some results. And so that phase of your life, for anything you do, you will learn. And as a starter, you have to monitor your learning. You have to document your learning. That's one thing a lot of people don't do. They do not document their learning, right? And so when they move out of that phase, you discover that um, um, people do, when you discover that when they move out of that phase and they grow, they are unable to mentor people, they are unable to train people, they are unable to build people's capacity. So when you document learnings on your personal growth, in your business, in your career, you are leaving behind tracks, right? You are leaving behind tracking points for people to stumble on and see, oh, this person got into this place, you got into this trouble, this was how you came out of it, these were the things you did. So you have to be documenting your learnings, document your failures, document how you overcame them and how you moved on. And then there's the adjustment phase, right? You will adjust as you grow. You adjust because environments change, systems change, policies change, a lot change. Even around you as a person, a lot change. So you have to do what? Just. You have to beat things to shape. There are a few things that you have to take out, there are a few things you have to infuse. And that happens consistently. And then there is the phase of consistency. You've mastered a few things. You can replicate those things. You can repeat those things, those activities, those habits have been mastered to a certain degree and you build on them consistently. You have them repeat themselves um, a couple of times, right? And then there's that point of expansion or phase of expansion whereby growth becomes quite visible, right? And you are seen everywhere. For different organizations, for different people, growth can mean anything, right? Depending on what they see as growth, what they are measuring as growth, what outcomes or outputs that they want to see, right? And what you want to see as growth may not be what somebody else will see. That is why from the very start, you need to document and state and draw out or draft a plan for yourself, for your life. And that tracking of progress or monitoring, evaluation, and learning helps you in a great deal to track progress, to do to track your growth. And when you have that in check, right, um, there are different things, will be it quantitative or qualitative, that enables you, right? And like I said earlier, it motivates. When you see that, um, let's say, for instance, you decide that this year or month on month in your business, you want to grow your revenue by 2% on a monthly basis. Now, of course, you need to check if that goal is smart, right? But again, while doing that, at the end of the month, you are doing a check-in. Meanwhile, in business, what we encourage is that don't check in at the end of the month. You now call everybody into the room and like, okay, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? No, 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 no. You have to track it daily, weekly, have weekly check-ins. You already have those things in place, those processes and plans in place that will make you achieve your 2% um, revenue increase on a monthly basis, right? And so you track those activities. Are you hitting those activities? Are those activities yielding the desired results? What are those adjustments that you need to put in place or to bring on board? And so you have to keep checking and checking and checking and checking routinely, routinely. And so at the end of the day, when you achieve 2%, you already know that you've met your target. In the next month, you are not just achieving 2%, or you did not just achieve 2%, you did 2.1, right? The following month again, you did 2.2, 2.3, right? Your numbers, what do they tell you, right? Quantitatively, you are seeing growth. Do you understand? Numbers can mean growth. Again, there could be other indices. Um, there could be other things that are also not working quite well, but your numbers are doing you well, right? You could be saying, okay, staff capacity, I'm hitting my numbers, but I have issues with my human resource capacity is not being built adequately well, or people are becoming stale and it's becoming a routine now and all of that. So there are a lot of things to check. We cannot deal with everything on this call. So yes, there is a growth blueprint, and I've been able to touch a bit on those. Vision, it's important setting a goal, having a structure in place, building habits, right? You can see why it's important that we spoke about discipline and also structure, systems. And there is one that have not really hammered on, and I want to now. It is accountability. As a person, your learning, accountability is part of your learning frameworks. It's part of the system that you keep in check, that you have in check, that you have in place for monitoring your learning, for your learning. And so you must be accountable to yourself and then set structures, have people, persons in place that you are accountable to, that you report to. In organizations, whether you're a CEO, it doesn't end at the level of a CEO. Of course, maybe while you're starting your business and you're in that um, you are in a phase that you can only accommodate yourself as being the champion or the CEO. But as you grow, you must understand, you must have in place like a board or like a person. Even as a CEO, if you don't have a board in place, you have a mentor, you have a just that person, you know, that you have given permission or right to question your progress, to also evaluate your progress. So accountability is key. You also being accountable to yourself is important, right? Sitting in the room and telling yourself to the face that, oh, you failed here. You didn't do this here. You did well here, and all of that. It starts with you. It's also important that you have persons or people around you that will that you will be accountable to, right? There's something that I'll encourage that every one of us try to do is to choose one discipline action in the next 30 days, um, build a system around it, and then track one measurable growth area, right? Simple. It can be, I want to learn a new, I want to try out a new recipe. I want to to go on a keto diet, like anything, but make it very simple, right? Before you transit into those things that are at the core of your life and purpose, ensure that you are always trying out those new things, building on some simple habits. Discipline is built, it can be built. A system can be built, right? You don't just wake up and you are disciplined. No, your environment can support your discipline. Whoever, and which is one thing I tell people, right? Look for people that are around you. You must be true to yourself, sincere with yourself, that you want to grow, and you must be able to find people, identify people that can tell you the truth in love, right? They can tell you truth in love to making sure that you are in check, right? So find or identify people or persons that will support you, right? At any level. If you want to read a book, find a book club, find individuals that are interested in reading books, identify with them. Amongst yourself, you build a trust group, you build an accountability system around and among yourselves. For instance, I learned this somewhere. There's this group of guys, they're interested in 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 building uh, in building their muscles. And so um, they're interested in going to the gym and all of that, exercise and all of those things that will keep their health in check and all. So they formed a WhatsApp group. So every day they post on their WhatsApp group. What they do is that everybody at a particular time online post their they've set targets, right? So what you do is you come online and tick the box and just give a report or a feedback of what you did, right? That you've done this, you've done that, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, and you post an evidence that you actually did all of those things or a video or something, right? Now, if feedback is not gotten from a person on that group, the person is kicked out of the group, right? And another person is added. So, in order for you to stay on that group, it's just a system that they built around themselves. It's just a way of being accountable. It also helps them to be disciplined, right? For some persons, you can decide that until I read this book, I'm not having lunch, I'm not having dinner, I'm not having this. Build motivations around and build reward systems around you too. Young persons don't know how to reward themselves. For those small tasks, celebrate your small achievements. They're important. Celebrate those small achievements, those milestones. Learn to celebrate them. And also learn to come out of failure. If you fail at them, fail forward. Pick up again, learn from it, and adjust and make it better. Right? This is not motivational speaking. These are practical steps, right? You do not stay on that one level. Keep growing, keep pushing. So you set those systems in place, making sure that you are not defaulting. Setting reward systems. The reward can be positive, it can be negative, right? And so, for instance, if you miss, let's say, if you miss, depending on what goal you've set for yourself, if you miss reading a particular chapter of a book, your reward may be that you would have to go help somebody on the farm and commit yourself to it, right? When you commit yourself to it, you are doing something to yourself that tomorrow you will appreciate. You are building discipline. You are building a system. You are having a growth mindset already. So rewards is important. Have rewards in place. Reward yourself when you fail. Reward yourself when you pass, but do not be hard on yourself. Do you understand? Do not be hard on yourself. Let the reward to be realistic. Let the reward not break you, right? If it's negative or if it's not a good one, but it's there to actually help you. So ensure that there are rewards in place, in check. If for instance you achieve a very, maybe you finished a book in record time, maybe you had planned that I'm going to finish this book this month and you did it in 2 weeks. Reward yourself, appreciate yourself, take yourself out, get yourself a drink, right? um as I try to round up, I want us to reflect, um this. What future version of yourself are your habits creating? What future version of yourself are your habits creating? Right? It is a take home reflection for us. Stay disciplined, build systems, grow intentionally. On a final note, I want to leave us with this: growth, discipline, and building structures and systems are progressive and they can be built, they can be developed, right? And you have to take responsibility. For some persons, subconsciously or unknowingly to them, their environment built disciplines around them. Some parents were very disciplined. They made sure that their children grew up in such a way and in such a manner. You at this level, as you grow, your parents' influence, of course, will be there, but to a large extent, you have to start leading yourself. You have to start taking responsibility. And by taking responsibility, you have a future, you have a purpose, you have a place, a destiny. You know where you are heading to. And you need to now build, construct. It's intentional. You can't do it without knowing. It doesn't happen like that, right? The things I've achieved today, one of the things God has blessed me with are the people around me, right? There are people that are, are interested in growth. There are people that are interested in growth. And so my default mode, my default personality is that, man, we have to do this. We have to grow. We need to get this done, right? It is doing those things, showing up daily, showing up daily, showing up daily. You have to show up daily. And again, I want to leave us with this. Do dry runs. I call them dry runs. Test things at the micro level. Test things at the micro level and build on them. Thank you very much. If there are questions, reactions, and comments, please, I would like to take them now. I'll stop sharing my screen now so we can interact. Right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Wow. So thank God. No, normally we usually do conversation style, but I was like, let me just allow you flow. I was like, because there was no way conversation style could have brought these things up. Of course, they could have been maybe it was the direction, but thank you so much for the
No
flow.
worries. No worries at all.
I know you being here, so we know that it's a sacrifice. We
It's
really
fine.
appreciate it.
It's
So
always
please,
it's a
if you have
pleasure.
questions, thank you so much. So if you have questions, please let's
Yes, please. If you have any question, please, let's have them. Comments, reactions, any case study, right? You can do that by just tell us who you are, what you do, and yep, go for it, please. Go for it.
that you maybe in your business, what you do, your place of work, in your students. Maybe there's
Yeah,
a
feel free,
particular
please.
practicability of what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So if you have a case study, please feel free to talk about. That vision that you have, what is still holding you back is is
Yeah,
discipline and systems. When
there is
systems
a
are in
hand up.
place,
There is a hand up. Charity, go
okay.
for it. Like,
Thank you,
don't
please.
do not bother to raise a hand. Just unmute yourself and speak. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you, sir, for the lecture. It was impactful. Okay, mine is a question actually.
Mm.
You spoke about growth and you spoke about putting a system that will help you. Okay, introducing myself. I am Charity and I'm a surveyor.
Hmm.
Yeah, I practice land surveying. So
Great.
I want to ask a question that how can someone be consistent? I know you mentioned about um like getting people that you can be accountable to, but I think I've tried that, but it has not really worked out for me because everybody today they are trying to get to one place or the other, so it becomes so overwhelming that sometimes they even forget to check on you, except maybe you are the one doing the checking. Like maybe you may start at first, it's going well, and then before you know, everybody drifts, everybody gets busy, and the mentorship stops there. Mm.
Yeah.
So on my own, I've tried to like I've learned a lot of things. I've tried to learn data science, it's still on the way. Like just touch it, touch it. So many unfinished things.
Yes.
So I want to ask that how can someone be consistent?
Great.
Like yes, how can you be consistent?
Right. That's a very beautiful question and very practical. And I'm sure that that resonates with a number of us here, right? So the thing about consistency is this, right? If you, for whatsoever you want to be consistent at the starting point, make it micro. make it as micro as possible. Let it be on the micro level. That's one. Number two that you need to note is that when you want to have people around you that will help you to be consistent, there's what we call peer mentorship. Make sure that you have peer mentors or have peer mentors around you. Of course, have people that are at your level. Also have people that are above your level, right? Have people that are at your level that are also, they also have the appetite to grow. They also have the appetite to become consistent with whatsoever you want to do. And then again, um, depending on what you want to achieve, right? You cannot have, you are a surveyor and you're trying to learn data science and you want to grow in that area, right? You are not supposed to have a pastor as your either your peer mentor or somebody that you should look forward to because the way he sees and his direction and his viewpoint, his lens may be a whole lot different. So you need to find people that are like-minded, other persons that are either that are also at that beginner level or at your level that want to learn about data science. And then you all put yourself together in a group. You set measurable targets, right? Also, like I mentioned before, that set a reward system. Reward systems helps consistency, right? It motivates you. There is the people part, right? A lot of persons are not self-motivated. A lot of persons can't get on with something and continue with that thing, right? So you need people around you that have, you need to identify people around you that have a character of getting things done. They have a character of also pushing people to getting things done. They will not abandon you along the way. So, and it can be at the peer level, it can also be top bottom, right? So at the peer level, mentorship can happen, support can happen, and even happen very effectively. And also top bottom, you can have people around you that will monitor and track your progress. Progress tracking is key. If you start out to say, I want to learn a course, or I want to take a course on Coursera or Allison or any of the online platforms, you want to do a course monthly, you want to do a certification course quarterly, identify people or persons that also share the same goal. And then you all are intentional. You don't just gloss around it. You build something and say, okay, we need to be consistent. We need to achieve this. Whoever does not come up with a certificate at the end of 3 months will take all of us out for lunch or dinner. Whoever does not share his certificate at the end of the month will do A or B or C. You will decide and bind yourself to that covenant, right? You decide, you build a trust group. It's called a trust group. Build trust groups among yourselves. Find people that are like-minded, build a trust group, and be committed to that trust group. When you now have a commitment problem, because a lot of persons just drop the ball along the way, they have a commitment problem. That is a different thing altogether, right? When you discover that you are lacking commitments, right? You now need to it can be a goal setting issue, right? It could be goal setting problems. It can also be that the environment you have grown over the years, over time, have constructed you such that things just fall to the table. You just get things done by people around you and all of that. You just get things done. People just do things for you. And so it's difficult for that kind of individual to be self-motivated in some cases, right? But for consistency, two things I would say clearly that will help is having a reward system and having like-minded people around you. People that also, they say iron sharpened iron. People that also are interested in growth. In fact, their interest in growth is way more than yours, right? Is way higher than yours, right? But at the level of that skill, of that practice, of that thing, there was that time where I was going out for road walks and on my own, especially when it's during the dry season or harmattan, it's a drag to wake up at that time at 5 a.m. to hit the road because it's that time of the day or yes, that you feel you enjoy your sleep, and you hide yourself under the duvet and all of that, and you will just enjoy your sleep. But I had few persons that they were like, come rain, come sunshine, they are on my door, they are knocking. Come out, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And when you hear that knock, they'll be like, even if you say, I'm tired, and so they'll come and pull off that duvet off your body, get you up, push you to it, sprinkle water on you, and all of that. You need to have those kind of people around you. They are gifts to you. They will help you, right? And they will help you get onto your groove. It's not that they'll be there forever. And you also need to be responsible that because that person will not be there forever to always pull you in, to always pull you in. You also have to take responsibility. That, am I the only person? Let me also pull other people, right? And that thing that helps also is that find two or three persons that you are nurturing. It helps. Find two or three persons that you are also trying to nurture. That could be in the university or you are also supporting them, right, with their growth. So um, building systems or people around you and also staying um, building or having people around you and starting on a micro level, having like-minded people and reward systems. Reward is key. Whether you decide to undertake that activity or that action by yourself, have a reward in place for it. Reward motivates. Reward motivates. As some person says, oh, come, let's go see a movie today. Every Friday, you want to like, okay, let's see a movie, right? Or for you to, okay, you like, okay, for me to finish this task, for some persons, it's your office, it's your organization, or it's a milestone you want to achieve. You're like, I'm not seeing any movie this weekend until I'm getting this done. Or I'm going to see a movie this weekend when I get this done. And that's it. I'm going to get myself a drink. It's important. And please, um, for other persons that have gone through this kind of phase, feel free to also share your lessons, right? Feel free to share your experience, right? Um, there was, I'm trying to, lastly now, so that other persons can speak. There was a time where, I gave an example of me trying to do road walk. There was also that time that I I wanted to lose weight, and so I I had to tell the people around me, please make sure that there is no bread in this house. Just do everything possible, right? to making sure I have decided that, okay, I will not buy bread. But please, if you can, don't allow me to see bread. Do you understand? So it's just a way of making sure that I stay on track with my objectives. Do you understand? Yes, Barnabas.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. That was so pungent. So a lot of lessons learned. I just want to also contribute to what the question she asked, because I mean you've covered literally everything. So systems thinking is something that if a lot of us trying to grow, get a hang on, it will really really help, because something with consistency is you, and you already mentioned that in terms of building systems, discipline is key, and also reducing friction is something that we should also zone in on, because a lot of times we rely on motivation to stay consistent. One day you are pumped up, let me get this done, and then before the week is over, you find yourself struggling to even keep up with the bare minimum. Yeah, so having a system that is less restrictive, it helps. And that thing you said about tracking progress and visualizing progress is something that I've experimented with, and I see that it works. So
Right.
to her question about how do you maintain consistency, I think if she can implement what a lot of things that you've shared, I think it will really help. Okay, this is the goal that I want to achieve. This is how I can systematize, break it down into my daily routine, my weekly routines, and then have a way I can track that progress.
Yep.
It can be maybe a spreadsheet somewhere you can say, okay, did I it can be as simple as having a calendar hanged on your wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I set out to do this today, did I actually do it? Then you tick
Right.
on your calendar.
Yep.
Tomorrow, seeing that progress, there's a way it keeps you motivated, on
Yep.
its own.
Yep.
Right. So I just wanted to just re-emphasize some of the things you shared. Having that, and then accountability. Oh yes, you can't do without accountability, because there are a lot of times where you have that system set, you have your calendar that you are tracking, but at the same time you just fall flat. But when
Yep.
you have someone that can check in on your progress and say, hey, you set out to do this, how about that? And I think I experienced that last year. I was trying to finish up my master's dissertation. I was trying to finish a course. I was trying to get, so it was so much. And
Yep.
then even though I
Yep.
had systems, I saw myself just not being able to put
Yeah.
everything together.
Yeah.
And there was just this friend that once I see her call, I know that she's definitely going to ask me, what's the progress with this? What's the progress with that? And I don't she's somebody that I actually look forward to, because she's really, really good in terms of growth. She's very strategic.
Yeah.
So I don't want to consistently give excuses and say, oh, I didn't meet up with that. Oh, I didn't. So because I have that accountability partner, I strive to want to stay consistent. And I
Yes.
saw how that it helped. I saw
Yes.
how that really helped. So systems, with what you shared, systems is really something that can help us really stay
Yeah.
consistent. Visualizing our progress, celebrating our small wins. Because yes, this part I know I've heard this from you a lot of times. I think in some of your other presentations outside of this community, how that you emphasize celebrating small wins, and I think it's something that so a lot of us are guilty of. We just want to hit that major milestone before we celebrate ourselves. We just
True.
want to get that big break before we say, oh, if we don't able, if we are unable to get that, then we just say us beating ourselves up. Oh, I failed. I didn't meet up. I didn't measure up, and all. So, thank you so much. It's really exciting hearing all of the things you shared. So I don't know if
Spot
I'll be
on.
able to contribute to our question a little bit about
Spot
staying
on.
consistent.
Spot on.
Don't
Spot.
rely on motivation, build systems, stay consistent, and have an accountability partner for sure.
Yeah, that's spot on. Thank you very much, Barnabas, for that insightful contribution. One last thing I'll say, and I'll close on that, is make sure that you understand I said this somewhere, and I've always said it. You have a productivity quotient. You need to identify when you are most productive as a person, right? And then make sure that certain things you hold dear around and about your growth happens within that productivity quotient or framework. I'll break it down. Now, um, for some persons, they are early morning persons. For some persons, they are most productive towards the evening. For some persons, I'm an early morning person. Like the time where I'm most productive, or I start getting very, a lot of people have short attention span, but there's that time, right, during their day that they are most productive. I think I've said it somewhere. There are some CEOs that come to the office as from 6 p.m. in the evening. It's funny, right? So, and there are some that as early as 3 a.m. they are in the office, right? That's the time where they can concentrate, they can do the best. There are some persons function in a noisy environment, some function in a very quiet environment. You need to find out what gets you productive, what enhances your productivity. You need to, whether it's with regards to timing, whether it's environment, it's important, right? And then with finding people that will help you grow. Barnabas said it, and it's key. There is that person that in your life that will say, sit down, and you will sit down. Stand up, and you will stand up, right? Have that kind of person in your life. It's important, whether it has to do with career or whatsoever. Have that kind of person in your life. And then lastly, for some of us, and I'll drill further down or take a deep dive into that online courses, and you're trying to pivot into a new area, a new field. A lot of persons now want to do masters in AI, um, all of those kind of things. See, take it gradual. You cannot wake up and become a data scientist tomorrow, right? And there are some persons that are whatsoever is put in front of them, that once they go at it, they get it done. You need to know the kind of person you are, first of all, right? Assess yourself and know the kind of individual that you are. And then you tailor with flexibility, tailor your system to your kind of person. Do not copy another person's framework, right? Tailor your system. Build your own growth indices by yourself, or as a group, like I said, when you form trust groups, build a structure or an accountability system that helps all of you to thrive, and it accounts for each person's strengths and weaknesses. Do you understand? So I'll leave you with those to go think about, right? We may not have answered all of your questions, but I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe Charity. I believe your
Yes,
questions.
it is. Thank you, sir.
Okay, progress. Thank you so much. I think you still have questions. If you do, just post it on the community chat. Find a way to get it across on the website. Thank you so much for this session. It's quite clarifying.
I
It's
could
quite
still do another 5 minutes, Gideon.
okay.
Um,
So thank you so much.
if
So
if I can respond to a second question or even a third,
perfect,
but
perfect. You see, he's doing a lot for us. Please, if you still have any question, please, please just your name and what you do, and then your question, please. Is there anybody?
Good evening. My name is Olawale Akinele. I want to say thank you so much, sir, for the session. Quite insightful. In one of the slides, you pointed out that most people do not document their learning, and documenting learning helps to mentor and raise people. I think I'm one of the most people. I think I'm guilty of that. So I I want to ask that how do you document learning? Or what's the most effective way from your experience to document learning? Thank you, sir.
Okay. I was in the laboratory working some few weeks ago, and a, I was going to undertake an experiment, and um, while doing that, one of the equipment became defective, right? And I I kind of like found a way around my methods, and I fixed the process, the equipment, and all of that. And I learned the hard way. I did not document. And so that reappeared again. I was like, how did I get through this the last time? How did I get through this the last time? It was a mistake that it is something that I know very well, that I'm very micro. I don't micromanage people. I micromanage myself. So I kind of like, I'm very, very micro. Like, those are details that I'll not miss. So I felt like actually I procrastinated. That was the problem, right? Like, I'm going to write this, but let me get it done, right? One of the things that there are a lot of things that um, can we tend to overlook, or we're like, oh, it's in my head. I have it all sorted out. It's important that you write things down. Take pictures. You have your phone. It has a recorder. Speak to your recorder, right? Just say, okay, this. I had this, I got this, and all of that. This is what I learned. Just record voice notes. It's one way to record your lessons, because sometimes writing can be burdensome. Just pick up your phone and record. You can either do a video or do audio, whichever way. Just record, right? That's why you have that technology around you. Record it and do not procrastinate. It's another journey entirely, and it's something that a lot of people are struggling with, right? Or you feel that you have a hang on things and like you have a photographic memory. Do not fall into that deception. No matter how good you are with catching things, just write them down, right? Write them down. And then at the end of the week, have a learning grid, depending on the project or on the thing that you are working on, whether for your personal life, whether professionally, whatsoever it is, right? If there are new ways of doing things, document it. I had this problem. I did some troubleshooting, and then I did a diagnosis, and these were the solutions that were proffered, right? This was how I got out of this scenario, right? I was in debt, right? And my company, my business was in debt. We're not growing. But these were the things that we did to get out of that. These were the things that we did that got us into the debt. Do you understand? Now, when you get into a problem, document it. Now, there's what we call problem and solution analysis. In problem and solution analysis, um, just at the basic level, I'm trying to explain this. You must documentation is part of problem and solution analysis. So when you get into trouble or a problem or a challenge or you have an issue, learn to document that problem. How did you get into it? What led to it? Right? I got a query at work for coming late. How did you get there? How did you get there? What happened? What were those things that led or that caused you, that made you come late to work that morning? So you document. And what are the practicable solutions to not having a repeat of that scenario? You document it. Now, the next thing is now making commitments, because documentation, it moves away from just documenting or recording your lessons or your learnings, right? So I have done a lot of documentations at an organizational level, and then yes, within your trust groups, right? Come together. Documentation can happen at an individual level. It can also happen at a group level, right? Where a particular department or the entire management or your peer group or your trust group just come together, or your accountability group, you all just come together and say, okay, it can be an online call, a virtual call like we're having now, and it's being recorded. And you are discussing problems. You are discussing what led to problems. And you're also discussing solutions and how to get out of that, right? So that is also another way of documenting your learning, right? First is when those situations, scenarios occur, pick up your phone, record. If you cannot write immediately, or you have your jotter or book or diary or your writing material around you, pick up your phone. That's why I have this technology. Pick up your phone, record, voice, audio, or whichever, save it somewhere. You come back to it. And then you can, at your peer level, your accountability group, come together, whether virtually or physically, right? Have those conversations. And those conversations, make sure that you have somebody amongst you that is recording, that is taking notes, right? So, managing projects and even international projects, we cannot, in fact, when you are winding down a project that you implemented within a community or whatsoever, you must present learnings. Because before you started that project, there were things that, or while implementing that project, a lot happened that you never planned for, and you still moved on to implement that project. For instance, I'll give you an example. Let's say we want to do some humanitarian intervention at one of the IDP camps. Sadly, we have that all over everywhere. And you want to do an intervention. Let's say you want to distribute some items, and you had planned out that you were going to reach 1,000 persons. You had allocations for 1,000 individuals. And then you got in and realized that your data was inaccurate or incomplete. You did not capture households. You only just were going to work with 1,000 individuals. And when you got to your project location, with all your plans and all your distribution plans, there were things that you did not put in check. Number one is security. When you got to the camp, how were you going to manage crowd? Maybe you had no plans for that. So what did you now do? You identify able-bodied men within the camp, and you nominated them as volunteers, and you motivated them in some way to help you manage the crowd, right? You did not plan for that challenge or trouble, but at the end of the day, you were able to. After the activity for that day, there was what we call project notes. That's why anywhere we go to, like you go with a notebook and all of that, you record that, what happened, what went on. So and a simple template is this: what went well at the end of your day, right? When you go about your day, when you come back and you're about to retire to bed, what went well today? Take up your phone. Writing can be burdensome. Take up your phone. What went well today? You say it, you record it. What didn't go well today? You say it, you record it. What did I do to manage what didn't go well today? Right? Is that clear? So take up your phone. A simple template. What went well? What didn't go well? What did I do to manage what didn't go well? Right? How do I enhance what went well? Just record it. At a time where you are comfortable, you have enough time, and you are relaxed, you can now do proper documentation and transcribe your voice notes. I'll leave you with that thought. That was a good question, Wale. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank
Was
you.
that
Thank you,
useful,
sir.
Wale?
Yes, sir. Very, very. Thank you so much,
I
sir.
think I do same thing here also, because personally, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts. But most
Yeah.
times my phone, on my Google Keep, if I just go there right now, I have like I have my thoughts part one. I've exhausted Google Note page. I don't know if anybody have exhausted it before. And I have my thought part two now. So anytime anything drops, I have to go and jot it down before
Yeah.
before it flies away. So thank you so much, sir, for that response, and for this session as a whole is so enlightening. So enlightening, please. Please, if you have not gained anything from this session, of course, if you are here, even till this time, we have spent like this close to 2 hours, and I didn't even know. It doesn't look like it actually. If you have not gotten anything, I don't know what we get again. You understand? But thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
No
You
worries
know,
at all. It's a
yeah,
pleasure.
discipline, systems, and growth. When you mix discipline and systems together, you experience growth. So it's very important. Guys, growth is not accidental. People sit down, they build things together, they lay blocks upon blocks, before you can experience growth. So please, I want us to put to practice everything we have learned. And actually, this is what the committee is for. And by God's grace, we'll be having more and more of these conversations, virtually and on ground, for those that will be on ground, wherever to be holding. So thank you so much, sir. Uh,
No
as I
worries.
said,
You're
I know it's
welcome.
a sacrifice, and to me, it's an honor, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Fine.
God bless you so much. So,
Bless you.
let's say thank you to our guests. Let's say thank you to our guests.
Oh, no, 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 no. You don't have to do that.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Bless,
sir. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
bless
you,
People
you.
are
sir.
typing from the comment section.
I'm glad to be part of the community. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay. Till next time, I think we will be having our next meetup next month. And 2 bits of conversations with the group also as time goes on. So thank you so much for coming. God bless us all. In Jesus' name. Amen.
You said?